I just returned from Venice, and these are 7 things I wish someone had told me before I went. Venice is one of, if not the most unique city in the world, but it can also be a little confusing. So these are some things you should know before you book your trip. Venice was not built on land. It was actually considered uninhabitable, but millions of wooden pylons were driven into the lagoon floor over 1,000 years ago, and this floating city exists because of that. In actuality, by 2050, only 24 more years from now, they are expecting to have to do some major work to keep this city afloat. And because of that fact, your Uber is a boat. Let me tell you, we rode the Vaporetto and some private water taxis, and they were extremely easy to figure out. Everything is well labeled. It was actually easier than a subway. So I would highly recommend using the public transportation in Venice. Not only that, it is a beautiful ride. Venice is divided into districts, so sometimes looking for a place to stay can feel a little overwhelming. There are pros and cons to each section, so it really depends on what vibe you're going for. We chose Castello, and it was absolutely perfect. First of all, our hotel was beautiful. It was our one major splurge on this trip. We did have canal views, but they were not the Grand Canal views. So it kind of depends. If you want to be in the middle of everything, right in the heart of Venice, look around the Rialto Bridge. There's probably over 100 hotels right in that little section. They all have great views. Here's a fun, interesting fact that I learned on a St. Mark's After Dark tour. So many years ago, Doge's Palace was built, and it was the governmental operation of Venice. And Venice was a strong nation. They had a lot of activity and ownership along a lot of the coast, all the way even down into the south of Italy. But they wanted to have a church associated with their governmental area, but they needed someone important buried there. And so they were on the search for St. Mark's remains. St. Mark had been sent to Egypt many thousands of years ago and was preaching there when he was killed. And so they had buried him in Egypt, but the Venetians actually went to Egypt and stole his body and brought it back to St. Mark's. In the 1800s, they found a box that they assumed was his remains. So in the 1800s, they opened it once and only once, and they did verify that it was St. Mark's body. So now his final resting place is under the altar at St. Mark's Church. The food and wine was exquisite. Of course, the specialty is seafood because of its location, but we did find some places that had a nice steak dinner. So there is a large variety of food. You really can't go wrong. Pro tip, the further you get away from St. Mark's Square, the more authentic you're gonna find. Of course, the magic of Venice is just getting lost in the streets, walking over the little bridges that connect the canals and connect the streets together into each district. The people there were extremely kind to us. The streets were immaculate. It was just unbelievable. It's bright and colorful and just beautiful. And we were there through 2.5 days of nothing but rain. So I can't even imagine what it would look like in the sunshine. But definitely do not miss a few of the hidden gems. Of course, you want to see the big spots, the Accademia Bridge, the Rialto Bridge, the fish market is really cool. But the library and the Opera House were 2 of my favorite unexpected days that we just really enjoyed those spots. So find the hidden spots as you're doing the touristy parts too. And I'm going to end with my travel advisor tips. Number 1, comfy shoes. That is always number 1. We did about 16,000 steps a day in Venice, so that was an absolute must. Number 2, watch the weather forecast. Luckily, we were extremely prepared. We knew that unfortunately we were going to have rain the entire time we were in Venice. It did not take away from the beauty. We had shoe covers, which was something we didn't think about until the very end, and I'm so glad we had it because we had to walk through puddles and our shoes would have been soaking wet. We also had ponchos, rain jackets, and we made the best of it. And the third thing, just watch out for pickpockets. This was the only place that we had an issue in all of Italy, and it was surprisingly Venice. Always be careful with your things. So would I go back to Venice? Absolutely. I can't wait to go back to Venice. Hopefully I'll have sunshine next time. However, I would spend less time in the touristy areas around Rialto Bridge and St. Mark's Square, and I would go into the neighborhoods. I would go into the Jewish ghetto, Cannaregio, Santa Croce. I would go out to where the Venetian people are living their lives, interact with them, practice some of my Italian, get lost in the streets, taste the delicious food in the different districts and the little small restaurants that nobody's ever heard of. That's what I'm going to do next time. So if you need help planning a trip now, in the future, even if you just want a consultation because you don't have any idea what you want to do and want to throw some ideas around, look up my information in my bio and I will be more than happy to sit down and discuss it with you. I also have a lot more info to come for the rest of our Italian adventure. Stay tuned.